Hello everyone. Hello. Hello everybody, how are we doing? Hello. Hello Mia. Hello Typha. Hello Rose. Hello everybody, how are we doing? Is the music too loud? I should probably turn it down, it's loud for me. There we go. Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the stream. How are we doing? I'm not in a good mood. I've woken up, well I say I woken up, I stayed up quite late last night. Watching politics, and it's a fucking mess. But again, we move. I also, as you can hear, there's a fire engine going by right now. You may have seen on Twitter that in London, is this music too loud? Is this music too loud? 1 second. I'm gonna shut my window so you guys can't hear that. 1 second. Yeah, there was a lot of problems. And that involves politics, and it involves fire. So basically, ooh, what's this? Maybe a bit loud. Okay, I'll turn it down. There we go. Yeah. So basically, actually, I can't bother to have music on. So basically, I woke up to find out that I got woke up by sirens, and I was really confused because, you know, when you hear a loud noise and it's like comes into your dream, I had it. The sirens were in my dream, and then I woke up to even louder sirens, and it turned out one of the buildings, like 2 minutes, literally over the road, I can see it from this area I'm in, just completely on fire. Same issues as what happened with Grenfell. Fucking horrific, actually horrifying. I actually looked at an apartment in that flat last year when I was moving out of Greenwich, and I also lived next door to that block of flats at one point. So very terrifying. I think nobody is seriously harmed. They believe somebody got burnt, but they'll recover. But still, it could have been way worse. I don't know if the fire has ended yet, but fucking terrifying. And it all comes down to cladding again. And this is just like an ongoing issue in London. And you really got to ask the question of what the fuck is going on. Like, it's scary. Thankfully, I live in a new build, so I don't believe there's any cladding in this building. But yeah, terrifying. I hope everybody involved's okay. Even though people weren't harmed, somebody's house or flat still went up in flames, and that's a lost home for somebody. All of their things have been burnt to a crisp because of a fuse box. It wasn't even like they did something stupid. They didn't like light a cigarette or something. It was a fuse box. And in that building, there was no fire alarm. So people in the building didn't know that there was a fire going on, even next door, until somebody banged on their fucking door. How horrifying is that? Note to self, don't move to London. I mean, I think this is everywhere, to be fair, but I think it's kind of it's kind of amplified in London because there are so many people here, so there are so many tower blocks, and it's like it's all cheap, you know. They never put real money and real investment into these apartments. They try to make it look very fancy, but then 10 years down the line it starts collapsing and starts becoming a fucking shithole, despite the rent prices being £2,000 a month. It's a fucking joke. It's a complete fucking joke, and I really don't understand how landlords can look themselves in the fucking mirror. It's disgusting. I really don't understand how anybody renting out an apartment which has cladding in it for £2,000 a month can actually fucking live. Like, I'd go to the point of saying you don't deserve to be on this fucking planet if you're one of the people doing that. Like, that is truly awful. Like, you're taking advantage of just working class people and you're making them live in a horrific condition and giving them high rent. It's a joke. It's a joke. Wasn't the issue the type of cladding? Yes, it was. But it's the same cladding that was in Grenfell. But then I wake up and I see Labour are getting decimated in the local elections in the UK, and I'd say I'm surprised, but I'm not. If anything, this is the most expected result for me personally. I see this result, and I think, yes, not a shock. Like, not a shock whatsoever. If anything, probably one of the least surprising elections for me. It's been going on since 2015, well 2010 really. Not a shock. People are saying that Sean Bailey has taken the lead in London. I believe that's only because of the outer boroughs of London, which are typically Tory-dominated areas. So, you know, I don't think Conservatives are going to win in London. Mr. Nabber only speaks facts. I'm just speaking what's on my mind. But then so the worst thing is I wake up and I see people attacking like working class northern voters for voting Tory. Now, don't get me wrong. I disagree with absolutely everything that the Tory party stands for and the people in the Tory party. But at the same time, I think that blaming working class people for voting for Labour for 80 years straight and Labour becoming so lazy and doing absolutely nothing in their area for so long because it's a traditional Labour seat, so they didn't really see the need to do anything. I think blaming those people for thinking, fuck, I'm going to vote for another party, and not even necessarily the Tories, like Lib Dems or the Green Party, for example. I'm not going to get mad at them. I'm going to get mad at the fucking politicians, like Keir Starmer, for example. Because people can say that Jeremy Corbyn is the reason that Labour are in this position. I disagree. Labour have been fucked for a long time. A long time. I mean, in 2015, people didn't vote for Labour because fucking Ed Miliband ate a sandwich in a weird way. This is politics in Great Britain, people. I think at least, like, I really liked Corbyn because he had charisma. He actually had ideals which he stuck to. Now, people saw those ideals as radical. I personally didn't. I think they were actually quite just normal left, to be honest with you. And people didn't like that. So that obviously sparked this sort of counter culture against Labour. But at least I see Corbyn as a person that stuck to his ideas, somebody that truly to the end of his reign of Labour stuck to what he believed in. But then Keir Starmer is like this weird fucking grotesque shell of a human, not even a human being, like a fucking ghoul. Keir Starmer is a ghoul who has no beliefs. He has no ideologies. For some reason, people try to paint him off as a socialist. He's not a fucking socialist. Like, and then people even try to say, like, he's a Tory. I don't even think he's a Tory because he still hasn't got the fucking balls to say any form of, like, policy that he actually has. The only policies he's had are, like, the most minuscule, obvious ones, you know? Keir is just this shell of a fucking human being. At least Corbyn actually had ideals, and I think the reason Labour are in such like disenfranchised area of where nobody wants to vote for them is because they don't stand for anything. Like, the left don't know what Labour are anymore. The right don't understand what Labour are anymore. So that's only going to cause people to go to other parties. Like, Labour don't stand for fucking anything. They are a truly terrible party. Not as terrible as the Tories, but they are still fucking awful. So I am not going... Personally, I grew up in a town that was Labour for, I believe, like 100 years. Maybe not that long, but Labour for a very long time. And when I grew up there, it was becoming worse and worse. The businesses were going out. There were less and less jobs. Housing was terrible. We had this promise of a third crossing for around fucking 20 years, and it just never came to fruition. So one election, the town flipped Tory, which surprised me and has never gone back since. And now we're getting a third crossing. So I can understand why they would continue to do that, because they are actually getting what they promised for. So blame the politicians. Don't necessarily blame the working class people, is what I'm trying to say. And this is coming from somebody that has voted for Labour in every single election and voted Remain in the EU. I just think the blame game shouldn't be put on just average working class citizens, you know? It should be put on the politicians who are... Their job is to make us want to vote for them. And nobody wants to vote for Labour. People only vote for Labour out of necessity now. They only vote for Labour because we don't want to be a Tory. You know, that's really it. It's really a fucking joke at this point. Sorry for not reading the chat. I just need to go on a little rant about Labour. I feel like this is the worst state Labour has been in. 2017 was a good time. I do miss that when Corbyn probably should have won the election, but he was snaked out by Blairites in the party. You know? And this is it. It's a deep-rooted issue in the party. I am under the belief that the Conservatives are going to be in power for at least the next 10 years. At least. Unless there is some major fucking change. I think the Conservatives are going to be in power for a long fucking time. For a long time. And that is like a reality we just kind of have to like see and think, well, how can we try and change that? We're not going to, but well, we can try. You know, it's Labour has been a disease since the Iraq War. Like, it just has. Labour is just a truly terrible party. So I used to be somebody that would say, I can't fucking understand why you would not vote for Labour. But now it's like, oh, well, actually, I kind of can understand why you wouldn't, because they don't stand for anything. At least under Corbyn, I could say, this guy's got good fucking policies and ideals. Now it's like, well, we vote for Labour out of it's Labour and it's not the Conservatives, you know? And that shouldn't be what politics is. We shouldn't be voting for... It's like the Democrats and Republicans, for example. You only vote for the Democrats because it's the lesser of two evils. You know, that shouldn't be what politics is, especially in the progressive West. But I guess we're not that progressive anymore, you know? Were we ever? Me laughing in Puerto Rico politics. I can't say inkling that I'm an expert in Puerto Rican politics, but is it left wing there, or is it right wing, or is it just a mess? I don't really know. I love how the entire world has gone to shit. Yeah, is there like any country with like a government which are actually good? Because I know people were saying New Zealand, but apparently even I have a few friends in New Zealand who say even New Zealand have problems. So I don't really know, but. Tory spin doctors have a lot to answer for in the part where Ed Miliband and Jeremy Corbyn's losses were concerned, but the public needs to be more aware of this. Yeah. It's obviously there's so much more, like so many reasons to, like, I know people want to, like, this is what I'm saying, you can't just, like, attack working class people. You have to acknowledge that there are so many reasons to why Labour just keep losing elections. There are so many reasons. I mean, even in America, for example, let's be real. The Democrats only won the last election because it was fucking... in 2016, I think people on the center and the right saw Trump and they were like, he is some form of counter. He is to them, he was anti-establishment of some form. So they were like, I'm going to vote for this guy out of I'm tired of the traditional Democrats and Republicans. But then in 2020, most people were like, yeah, that didn't fucking work out, did it? Obviously, it was never going to work out. So the Democrats really only won because it was Trump. It was the easiest fucking election to win. And even then, they still almost bottled it, you know? Like, even then. And it's just a weird fucking political climate because I think we like to say that I do believe we do live in one of the most progressive times in history, but at the same time, we seem to be losing elections at a worse rate than ever before. It's a really weird fucking paradox. I genuinely don't understand it. I maybe people just don't want to hear progressive politics. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it probably is just that. I don't know. I don't know. iNabber didn't have Democratic Party, has fucking Joe Biden as their candidate. Yeah. I mean, I think they installed Joe Biden because of the whole Obama thing, because he was Obama's VP. They were kind of like, oh, well, he was Obama's VP, so vote for him. You know Obama and you like Obama. But by this point, I think a lot of people had come to the impression that Obama wasn't very much of a good president at all. I mean, when was the last good president? I can't think of the last good president. I don't think in my lifetime there's been a good president. I've been through the Bush. I think Clinton was president when I was born, and then it was Bush, then Obama, and then Trump, and now Biden. I think you still prefer Obama over Biden? Personally, I wasn't that invested into politics back then, so I'm not sure. I mean, I think they're probably as bad as each other. At least under Obama, I think that elections were more equal back then, or well, not equal, but like, I don't know. It just seems that back then it was more peaceful. I don't know. Maybe that's just out of like I was a child back then. I think it was more I was a child. Yeah. It's a weird time, chat, isn't it? It's a weird fucking time. Labour are dead in Scotland too because of the SNP. Labour are dead in Scotland because the Scottish people are tired of the Conservatives and Labour completely ignoring Scotland. Scotland has been this ignored place for forever. Scotland has been punished for being Scotland, and England's just kind of fucking shit on it. And I can completely understand why Labour are losing seats in Scotland, because they don't treat Scottish people with respect. They just completely ignore it, and they just let it, I guess, rot, you know? England don't have respect for Scottish, Welsh, or Irish people. They never have, and they wonder why these countries want independence. Even fucking Wales want independence. You know, the north of England want independence from the south. It all comes down to fucking Westminster, and they're fucking in their little fucking suits, like thinking they're any different to each other. Like, let's be real, they're all fucking snakes. There's like probably around 10 to 20 politicians who aren't, but the majority of people in that big fucking House of Parliament are all fucking snakes. You know, they're all snakes. They are. But like 20. You, Jeremy Corbyn. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, even under Corbyn, Scotland was still ignored. I really think that if you want this like United Kingdom, maybe pay attention to the other kingdoms. I mean, the United Kingdom's going to split in the next 5 years. I think we've all come to that fucking conclusion at this point, but yeah. I'm in the Midlands, and to be honest, I want independence. Well, the Midlands and the North... I mean, let's be real. When you vote in an election, you're voting for an election in London and the South. You're not... and you're just kind of going to hope that they do something in the North eventually. They won't. They never do. So, yeah. It's a fucking mess. It's a complete systemic mess. It all comes down to the system of politics. Will it change? Probably, because I think like people can say that, I mean, there's never going to be any riots or anything. But let's be real. We've only been in this pattern of like history for around 100 years now. Of 200 years ago, we'd go to war over like anything, you know. Now it's obviously a bit more like we all kind of work, every country tries to work together, but give it 50 years. I think that people are going to get fucking tired of this system. Like, it happens in every single piece of history. People get tired and empires crumble. And I know we're not technically in an empire, but eventually things always collapse in history. And I wouldn't be surprised when capitalism eventually collapses after people are tired of it. Yeah, the Soviet anthem plays. Exactly. There's always a counter. There is always, every 100 years, maybe even not 100 years, maybe 40 years, a new sort of politics, you know, every single time. There always is. Whether it's good or bad, there just always seems to be a counter. Most of the party is bad or horrific, but yeah. Somebody mentioned Germany. Now, Germany wasn't a counter. Germany was a fucking horrific ideology, which still plagues this world to this day. People were just kind of under the ignorance belief that in 1945 it had been defeated. I mean, to a major scale, yes, but it's still there. It's still a fucking disease to this planet. Yeah, and if you are one of those people, please die. Like, no acceptance or peace for those guys. But yeah, will I get banned from Twitch for saying that? If I do, that's kind of concerning on Twitch's end. But yeah, I am just a bit frustrated today, guys. As you can probably tell, it's just a political stream. I mean, I like talking about politics because I do think that I can like maybe help my younger viewers have some form of an understanding of things. I think more influencers should speak about politics. That's not me fucking bigging myself up. I think it's a pretty standard human thing to speak about politics because politics affects the lives of millions and millions of people, you know? By the way, Puerto Rico, they're investigating the justice system because one of the judges let the guy that killed his ex free. Oh, well, that's not good, Inkling. I hope that gets sorted. I haven't been paying attention to most. I do like politics, but I have zero idea of what's going on. Yeah, I personally believe politics should. I think politics and language should be two subjects in schools which are mandatory. I think that we should be learning politics from a very young age. I think we should be learning specific languages from very young ages, because going into high school and starting to learn French does fucking nothing, for example. But I think we should, if we learn other languages, I feel like it would really help people in Britain or America understand cultures more. And I really think that these two things are things. If I was the Prime Minister or the guy in charge of education, I would like put these things on the priority list: maths, English, languages. I know English and language is the same thing, but you know, and politics. I think these things really need to be taught. And yes, science and shit obviously is also important, but I think we can remove a few things off the curriculum to fucking push these very important topics forward. I mean, even you don't even need to necessarily add another hour to the day, because let's be real. In my school, our lessons got moved to like 100 minutes with 3 lessons, but before that we had 5 1-hour lessons. I personally pay attention for the first. I used to pay attention for the first half of the lesson, and then I'd fucking doze off. When you're learning, you do the learning in the first part, and then you do the actual work in the second part. But you do fucking nothing when you do the work for the most part. I think you could easily half lesson times and put in important topics in a school system for people to learn. I had no idea you have Twitch, dude. Hello, Caesar. I do have Twitch, yeah. Today we're ranting about politics. But yeah, I think that these really important things aren't being taught at a young age, and that installs an immediate problem, because when you haven't learnt these things at a young age, and then you come into them when you're around 14, in like year 9 or 13, you really just don't care because you're young. You know, you don't, like, you see this language and it's a difficult thing to learn, but if you're, I think if you're younger, you pick up languages easier, right? I think that's a thing. But yeah. Well, the thing is, you said you learnt language in primary school and still can't speak it. I think the lessons of teaching language is also a massive problem. But I think that language lessons, like when we learnt French and Spanish, they were taught so terribly, like awfully. I feel like you need to take the whole system, rip it apart, and put it back together. And the language lessons in school were genuinely awful. In comparison to my friends who say, I have a friend in Russia who knows like fucking 4 languages. Like, that's just the standard apparently for her. And that's probably because the system, even in Russia, is better than the system in Britain when it comes to languages, you know? You were taking German as a brave second language to learn. It's a good language to learn, but it's a brave one. Oh, for sure you do. Other language should be taught from a younger age. Yeah, because I think if you learn other languages at a young age, you go to appreciate and understand other cultures. Like, even if it's other European cultures, you know? Like, I think it really helps build connections and bridges, you know? Like, if we want multiculturalism, I think we should start to learn other people's languages as well, you know? I think that's a really good thing to do. I always say to people, I mean, even if you haven't done it now, just get into learning language. Even if it's like you download fucking Duolingo and you're doing Spanish 5 minutes a day, doesn't like harm yourself. If anything, it extends your knowledge, and it's a pretty fun thing. I think learning languages in Britain has this stigma because of how badly it's taught in schools. When I started learning languages by myself, and when I got a tutor for Spanish last year, sadly, I had to get rid of the tutor because of COVID, because of lockdown. I really enjoyed it because it was taught in a good way. It was interesting, but it's so uninteresting in school. It's so uninteresting just because of how bad it's taught. And most people just go to Google Translate, you know. Good for your brain too. Yeah, it's good for your brain. It's good to learn things. It's good to read things. I've been getting back into reading books, which is a bit of a struggle because I just stopped reading. I was an avid book reader until like age 16, and then I just stopped. So I feel like I'm kind of relearning how to read correctly, and it is quite difficult. But I think reading and writing are very important skills, which are kind of being thrown out the window because of obviously new technology and stuff. But yeah, I learnt more 2 years in Poland than my 6 years of French in England. Exactly. And I think that really fucking reflects how bad the United Kingdom, like, no disrespect to teachers, but I do just think the language aspect of teaching in this country is terrible. But yeah. Oh, we've got 100 viewers. Hello, everybody. You're listening to me rant right now. I can't concentrate on books. I did the same. Stopped at 14. Yeah, I think a lot of people did, and I think it's mainly because of technology. Like, where the reading we do is when we're on our phones scrolling through Twitter. You know, I'm currently reading Dune, which is a fucking good book. I'm only like 100 pages in. I'm going to try and do like an hour of reading a day, which is kind of difficult, but I'm going to try. I'll try my best. But yeah, sign language is another thing I think we should learn. That's a good point. I just think learning languages is an interesting and fun thing. I think it's as interesting as learning science. I really enjoyed doing physics, and I'd really enjoy learning Spanish, you know? I also think, I just think that the education system is deliberately flawed to engineer more profit. I think that, because when you go to university, when I went to uni, they put us on the starting year. The first year is very, very basic, because you're not taught the stuff that in my course in terms of computing in school or sixth form. And I actually believe that's kind of deliberate, because they want you to pay for these courses and give them more money, basically. That might be like a fucking conspiracy, but yeah. Hello, McDoodle. How you doing? My voice just cracked saying hello to you, so I am not 13, but hello. I honestly love learning languages. I need to get into Duo. Do you mean Duolingo? Or am I just tripping right now? Lol, hello. How you doing, buddy? How you doing? I'm a lurk, by the way. Okay. I guess that means you're staying by but not saying anything. I don't know. But yeah. God, we've done a lot of topics today, haven't we? What did we start with again? We started with fire. Then we moved on to politics and where I think Labour are in a terrible position. And now we're on languages and the education system. We cover a lot of serious topics on these streams, don't we? Jesus Christ. Duolingo. Duolingo is great. There's this app on my phone. Let me get it up for you. I really recommend getting it. It's great because basically you'll like speak in the language you're learning down the speaker, and that will send it out to other Spanish speakers, for example, who are learning English, and then they'll send you back English. So you correct their English and they correct your Spanish. So you can kind of naturally learn these languages how you would if you were a kid learning them when you like are surrounded by the people of these languages. It's a really good app. Let me get it up for you. I don't know if it's on my phone. I don't think it is. Yeah, it's not on my phone, which is kind of annoying. It's on my iPad, and I don't know where my iPad is, so apologies about that. But there are a lot of apps like that, and if you do just Google it, I'm sure it will come up. But yeah. iNabber is getting forced to say that, or Duolingo will kidnap his family. I actually just promoted an app which is probably a rival to Duolingo. But if Duolingo want to sponsor me, they're more than welcome to. Duolingo is good though. I do believe if you do actually do Duolingo for like 10 minutes a day for like a year, you're probably going to know the basics of like Spanish, for example. It's probably a bit more difficult when it comes to languages with multiple alphabets. Like I believe that Japanese, I think, has like 3 alphabets, right? Or am I completely wrong there? But yeah, what's the app called? I don't know, but tweet me on. Just tweet me, yeah, and I'll tweet you the app after the stream. I'll find my iPad. But yeah, keep your hands in the air. Don't move. My horse wants an apple. I don't know what that means, but fair enough. I just forget to do it. Yeah, that's my problem as well. I do sometimes forget to do it, but yeah. But yeah, should we go back to politics? How are Labour doing now? Are we still getting decimated? Okay, Labour did just hold Doncaster. Which is pretty poggies. But yeah, Conservatives just took Northumberland. Jesus Christ. Oldham have gone to Labour. It's a fucky wucky day, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Do you like Spain? Half my family are from Spain, so I'm inclined to say I do like Spain. Spain is a wonderful place. It's sadly let down by its governments, but I love Spain. Spain is my favourite country by far. Going to Spain is just such a fun experience. I love the Spanish people. I love seeing my family there. I haven't seen them for a while, sadly, but Spain was the last country I went to. Spain is just like it's just a fantastic country. Spain is just fun. Yeah, Urban Star said Spain. Spain is a vibe. It's fun. Yeah, Spain. I don't know why, but I just really love that country. And it has its problems, but if you're gonna go to Spain, I really, really recommend you don't go to like the English holiday destinations. Go to an actual Spanish town, city. Just go to Seville, go to Madrid, go to anywhere which isn't fucking English dominated towns in the south of Spain, because I like going to those places, but I say for the full experience, go to a place which isn't English dominated. Sometimes it is nice. Like the last place I went to was particularly English dominated, but it was kind of mixed of Spanish and English people. But yeah. Rip, I've only visited Ireland and Europe, England for a labour there. What country are you in? America? McDoodle? What topics are you planning to cover for your next video? My next video, I believe, is a James Charles sort of like secondary follow-up video, which is going to go into more detail. But yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah, America, it's almost 5 a.m. Are you East Coast? I feel like maybe not East Coast. Nah, you're definitely East Coast, but you're not like New York, right? I'm trying to think where that would be. California? What's... You're nowhere near the East Coast. That's the West Coast. What? How far ahead of... What's the time zone gap in New York? I swear New York was 7 hours. Time zone. I got it right yesterday, guys. Oh, it's only 4 hours. Jeez. Jesus. 3 hours. Yeah, Jesus. I didn't realize that. Wow. I'd love to go to California. It's a shame that I've never gone to America. Can you believe that I've been doing YouTube for this, well, not this long, but I've been doing YouTube for 4 years now, and I still haven't been to California, which is crazy. Or New York. It's like, yeah, come for TwitchCon. Yeah, I want to go to TwitchCon. I want to go to VidCon. And I want to go to Star Wars Celebration. They're the events. And I would love to go to Comic-Con as well. I have a lot of cons that I want to go to. I really enjoy going to cons. I just haven't been to enough. I think Star Wars Celebration would be the dream. I would fucking love to go to Star Wars Celebration and they unveil some film. Like, as much as I detest The Rise of Skywalker, the reveal of where Ian McDiarmid comes out as Palpatine, and it's like the evil Palpatine laugh of the trailer, mate. Those like scenes were crazy. That looks so fun. What's TwitchCon? Well, imagine VidCon but for Twitch, basically. What's your favorite Star Wars show? I'm going to say The Mandalorian. Actually, Clone Wars Season 7 is prime Star Wars. Clone Wars Season 7 is the best Star Wars has ever got to. But The Mandalorian, just for last season, I've just got to go for it. Seeing Bo-Katan in live action and Ahsoka as Rosario Dawson, just amazing. Just amazing. I fucking love that show. I am so hyped for Season 3. Like, I am surprised that there is now a show which I have like Game of Thrones level anticipation for. I didn't think that would come back, and I know it's not exactly a mutual exclusive feeling, but I put those shows in terms of anticipation on the same level because it's going to be... I think Season 3 of Mando is going to be so fucking like influential in the next 10 years of Star Wars. Especially, yeah, so Orban Star said Baby Yoda. Yeah, I think that with Baby Yoda, he's the key. Baby Yoda is the key to the next 10, 20 years of Star Wars because he can live for 1,000 years. So if they want to step 100 years into the timeline and abandon the Skywalker story completely, they can now do that because of Baby Yoda, because there is an instant recognizable character in the saga. And I also think seeing Baby Yoda as adult Grogu is going to be so like good to gain interest and stuff. Lol, Game of Thrones rip, miss her. Yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones season 1 to 4 was prime TV. Like, there's nothing better than Game of Thrones season 1 to 4. Maybe Breaking Bad season 4 and 5, but that, yeah, I do miss it. What did the politicians do this time? What didn't the politicians do this time? We were speaking about politics previously, but Yeah, I'm just a bit frustrated with politics right now. I'm staring at a map of Conservatives gaining another council, which isn't fun. But what can you do? What can you do other than laugh? Because if you don't laugh, you cry, and that's my mentality. You've only got to fucking laugh at the terrible, terrible state of modern politics. I like your glasses. Thank you. I like my glasses as well. I had a panic attack the other day because I lost my glasses. Turns out I retraced my steps. I went from out of my flat all the way to the store in Tesco's, and my glasses were literally on the floor next to the counter, and I don't understand how nobody accidentally stood on them, but they were there. What's so good about Labour cancels? Charles, if you go back into what I was saying earlier, this is the problem. There is nothing good about Labour cancels. Let me go back to my tangent previously. Labour in 2019 and Labour in 2017 actually had ideas. They had things to stand on, policies, and I understand that a lot of people saw that as far left. I personally didn't. I think it was pretty much normal left, but a lot of people saw it as far left. But at least I think Conservatives can agree with me that at least Labour in 2019 and 2017 actually had politics and charisma. The party was still rotten to the core, but Corbyn had policies, he had charisma, and that's why he gained a cult following. But Keir Starmer and Labour in 2021 literally have no policies. Blues for Everyone says Starmer's secretly a Tory. I don't even think he's secretly a Tory. I said earlier, Starmer is this empty fucking ghoul who has no policies, he has nothing to stand on, and that bodes the question of why should non-Labour voters vote for Labour? Why should they switch and vote for Labour? Personally, I'm voting for Labour out of necessity of not wanting to fucking be a Tory, and I see Labour as the lesser of two evils. We have gone to Democrats and Republicans in Britain. At least 2 years ago, there was a clear distinguishment between the left and the right. Now, Labour have absolutely nothing. They have no policies, but other than a few very obvious ones, they have nothing to really stand on, and nobody knows what this identity of Labour actually is. The left don't know what Labour is, the right don't know what Labour is. It's just this fucking empty shell which has no pull. Nobody wants to vote for that party because they have no ideas. At least when you're voting for the Conservatives, you actually fucking know what you're voting for, you know? You know what you're getting with the Conservatives to an extent. But with Labour, you're not getting anything. You're getting this weird pandering party who have no fucking real beliefs. They don't want to say their own beliefs because they're too fucking scared of any form of backlash, which is hilarious. Starmer is this fucking ghoul, and at least Corbyn actually stuck to his ideas when the ship sunk. He stuck to them, and he still does to this day. And that is why I appreciate him, and that is why I always voted for him. And if you didn't vote for him, fair fucking play. But I think you can admit that Corbyn definitely was way more electable than Starmer, purely based on the fact that he actually spoke his beliefs and his ideas, you know? There's no sort of sense of direction in Labour. Yeah, there is none. And that's my problem. Labour just don't have anything. They're a shell of... I mean, we can say this goes back to Corbyn. We can say this goes back to fucking Miliband. But at the end of the day, this goes back to Tony Blair. It goes back to the Iraq War. It goes back to all of that. There has been this fucking growing rot in the Labour Party for 25 fucking years at this point. It's a mess. The whole party needs to be ripped apart, put back together. The people are talking about the shadow cabinet being reshuffled. Fucking shuffle the entire party. Get some new blood in there. You know? Like, Starmer is called a socialist. How? He's not a fucking socialist. He is a shell who wants to be a conservative, a socialist, a centre person. Like, he wants to be everything, you know? What's the new, Fraser, what's the new second flat like? Has Harry annoyed with the neighbours? No, Harry and me haven't even spoke to the neighbours. We haven't had any altercations with them. No noise complaints, and I'm quite loud. Harry's not loud. I think I'm louder than Harry, but he very much listens to his music on headphones, I believe. But we haven't had any problems. Could you please explain what the parties are for us non-British? Okay, so the two major parties in Britain are traditionally the Conservatives and Labour. So Labour are like the left-wing party. not anymore really. And the Conservatives are the right-wing party, hence Conservative. And then you have the other parties. Now, in like more modern history, the third party has always been the Liberal Democrats up until like 2016. There was an era where there was a party called the UK Independence Party, which I fucking despise, ran by a guy called Nigel Farage, who for a short period of time were apparently the third biggest party in terms of voter count. They still didn't actually take any seats, but traditionally it's Labour, Conservatives, then the Liberal Democrats, then nowadays Green, and then I guess you can move on to the UKIPs and the Independents. But most people in this country vote between Conservatives and Labour. That's the battleground. That's the war, you know? UKIP's just the fascist party. I mean, yeah. Love from India. Hello. Thank you so much. I hope the situation in India improves soon. It's fucking horrific to see the news about India at the moment. Truly, I mean, I see people getting vaccinated who are like age 20, have no pre-existing health conditions and don't work on the front line or anything. But then India and Brazil, for example, aren't getting no vaccines. It's another thing about modern. I mean, it all does come down to politics at the end of the day. But yeah. Thank you for the love, and I really hope India improves its situation there drastically. I look at the cases every day. It's fucking terrifying. It's like 365,000 cases a day in India. Just mental. But yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that, and I hope things improve soon. I'm a Lib Dem, but any vote for not Labour is basically a vote for the Tories. See, I've been under that belief for a very long time, but at the same time, I think to just hold this belief that working class people, particularly in the North, Scotland, for example, should vote for Labour because if it's not Labour, it's a vote for the Tories. I think that belief is genuinely quite damaging because it has allowed Labour to come to this sort of like resolute condition of believing that they can just sit back idly and not do anything in certain places around the country, particularly in the North. And it's caused this massive counter of Conservatives winning in the North, which is something which really hasn't happened. I mean, since Thatcher, like when Thatcher did what she fucking did, obviously the North went completely red for so long. But now, because Labour have believed that because they're traditional voting spots in the North, they've got lazy, they've got complacent, and this is the result of that. This is, and I think that was very clear in 2019. You know, I think that Scotland has been ignored for so long. They're probably going to go independent eventually. I don't know how long that'll be, but I definitely think the United Kingdom is eventually going to separate. It's only pretty much. It's only inevitable at this point, you know. Hello, says Joe Not Found 69. Hello, Joe Not Found 69. But also, I feel that some people will vote for Brexit no matter what or whatever party panders to their racism. Yeah, but I think Brexit is also a very complicated issue because it again does come down to towns being ignored. Now, whilst I do believe Brexit, a large contributing factor of that was racism, at the same time, I think we do need to not have like an ignorant eye to the fact that there were communities completely ignored for a very long time. The fact that there are genuine problems in the EU. Like Corbyn, for example, was a complete Eurosceptic for a very long time. Now, personally, I voted Remain, but at the same time, I believe that there should be a European reform in the EU. I think that the EU, it's not great, but I think there's more benefits than the negatives, for example. But at the end of the day, it's a complex issue, which I think a lot of these things don't come down to just one thing. I think there is very much a problem when it comes to austerity, for example. And when you get to a point of where politicians have ignored where you live for so long, people can only start to blame the EU, for example, because they are informed that the EU are the reasons a fishing ports got shut down, which may not even be technically true in some cases. But, you know, it causes anger when politicians just ignore areas, understandably, you know. And it leads to horrific things, and it leads to fucking Brexit, you know. And I think that the blame needs to be put on the politicians who have allowed Britain to fucking rot and get worse and worse and worse. I think in this country, it's like an unfixable issue at the moment. As I said earlier, I think Britain are going to be conservative for the next 10 years at least. And that's just a fucking tragic... oh, bloody hell. That's the tragic reality. And the worst tragic reality is that my mic stand has just come out. Jesus. Here we go. Yeah, that's just the tragic reality. Fishermen voting for Brexit is sad. So much misinformation out there. Yeah, and I was actually misinformed on the fishing aspect of Brexit when I was younger. In like 2014, I was under the impression that Brexit would allow fishing ports to get back to what they actually were, which is complete utter bullshit. My town, where I come from, is a fishing port, and it's got worse since we left the EU. It's got fucking worse, you know? I think when we legalize weed, it will open people's minds. I think the legalization of weed is actually an extremely hot button topic which needs to be discussed more. I think when weed is legalized, it will actually change quite a lot. It will open the dialogue in Britain about the war on drugs, because we are in this ignorant belief that, oh, in Britain we're better than America. We're better there, which is a complete falsehood. That's simply not true. We are, if anything, identical to America. We just Kenji being a good boy. Can you see Kenji in the background? Oh yeah, you can. Look at him. He's just sitting there. But yeah. By the way, guys, I just want to say this is only a morning stream to air my feelings and thoughts. Tonight we're going to be playing a horror game on stream after I do my stuff today. But yeah. I think we should call it there for the politics, because it's just tiring. I've lost every election I voted in, and it's pretty disheartening, because especially when you like to believe you're on the right side of history, and even then, it's like, I don't know, it's just frustrating. I've lost every election I voted in. I'm kind of proud of that, but at the same time, I think that a lot of Labour supporters, not just the politicians, need to acknowledge that it is more than one issue when it comes to politics. We shouldn't shit on working class people for not voting Labour. We should ask these working class people, why did you not vote for this party? Simply politely ask them what is the reason, and then with some open fucking dialogue, we can come under some understanding. So rather than calling these people thick, stupid cunts, we should probably say, hey, why has your position changed? Why did this area that voted Labour for 90 years in the north now switch to Tory or Lib Dem? Why did that happen? And the moment we start being polite and asking people, and I know that maybe we shouldn't be polite in some aspects in our beliefs, because personally I do think that it is frustrating to have to ask these questions, but at the same time it is politics, and that's what is needed, discourse and discussion rather than arguing and fighting amongst each other. You know, we need to actually fucking learn why the North, for example, is becoming gradually more frustrated with the Labour Party. And it's pretty obvious at this point. It's because Labour have ignored the North as much as the Conservatives have. It's because they've ignored them for so fucking long, and these towns have just been allowed to rot away. The Labour Party have allowed the Conservatives to just let businesses run out. They've just allowed housing to be worse and worse in this country, and allowed homelessness to get worse and worse. Because yes, we can blame the Conservatives for being in charge, but at the same time, Labour are meant to be the counter. They're meant to be the shadow government who say to the actual government, no, you shouldn't do this. But Keir Starmer, out of everyone, is afraid. He's afraid to ask these questions. He's afraid to fucking stand up against Boris Johnson until it comes to like a penultimate of everyone saying, Starmer, you need to fucking take a stance at this point, you know? It's a sad situation. It's a sad time, but I hope maybe for the fifth fucking time of us losing, we can finally come to understanding that name calling and shitting on people for just only being done with a party that have ignored them for so long isn't the route to go. And we should just say to these people, what can we do? What can change? What change would you like? Would you like us to start investing in housing more? Would you like us to start helping businesses be funded? Would you like there to be tax cuts on small businesses and put tax increases on major corporations? Because I feel like these nice little things are what is needed in a lot of small towns. Well, not small towns, in this country, you know? Yeah. Vegan sausage roll, says Teagues. Yeah, maybe we just need a fucking leader that says things in a funny voice and has fuzzy hair, because apparently that's all you need to win the election nowadays. But yeah, somebody said Kenji. Oh, is he still visible in the shot? Let's see. He's there. But yeah, it's difficult, and I can understand why people. Can you see him? He's trying to get to Harry. He's got his toy in his mouth. Kenji, what's this? Come here. Hello. But yeah, I can understand why Labour supporters are equally frustrated, though, because I think to a lot of us, the issues to be solved are very simple and very obvious, but now Labour aren't tackling these issues, whereas before they were. So I feel like back then maybe we could have been more frustrated, but nowadays it's like, well, it's sad, because I can actually understand why people don't want to vote Labour, whereas before it was like, why would you not want these things? Before I blamed the media, I was like, there is a clear misinformation campaign against Jeremy Corbyn, for example, and there are clearly people inside the Labour Party who don't want Corbyn to be Prime Minister because they're Blairites. But now, I can only see why people don't want to vote for this party, and that is tragic. You know, after 2019, you'd think, maybe we would have got our shit together. I mean, it's the fact that there have been 150,000 deaths. The Prime Minister said, let the bodies stack up on each other. And yet we still struggle to convince people in the north, people in the south, people in the west, people in the east, that we have good ideals. Because there is this fucking ghoul in charge of this party who was not willing to take a stance on anything major because he is a giant fucking pussy with his big fucking pussy lips, and he'll never do fucking anything for this party. He is the biggest pussy I have seen. I genuinely think I prefer Tony Blair to Keir Starmer. And that is fucking saying something. Like, they are both horrific, but at least Blair knew how to win elections, even if it was all fucking bullshit and lies, you know? Pussy lips. He has got big fucking pussy lips because he's a big fucking pussy. Starmer is just repulsive, and maybe he'll get his shit together after this, but personally I think he needs to go. But yeah, he's a big fucking pussy. At least Corbyn had balls, you know? At least Corbyn actually fucking stood for what he believed in. Like, I don't know if we have any conservatives in this chat, because I'm pretty sure I have a predominantly left-wing audience. But if there are, can you acknowledge that Corbyn was good in the fact that he stood by what he believed in? Even if there's a centre person in this chat, or a Lib Dem, or a Green supporter, can we all agree that, right? I'm convinced he's not the Slovene from Doctor Who. Literally, like I agree. Keir Starmer probably is a fucking Slovene. Is this British politics? Yes, it is. So sorry to any Americanos in there. But yeah, somebody just tweeted a fucking photo of Theresa May dancing at me. That is fucking satanic. You sick bastard. But yeah, you liked Corbyn? I loved Corbyn. Corbyn was my favourite politician. Truly fucking tragic, man. You're a Green supporter and you agree. Well, that's nice to hear. How did your vote go today? Did Green win in your area? I think Green won in a few areas today, which is pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of the Green Party, but if I was to vote for a secondary party, it probably would be Green. Just because all the other ones are so wank. I mean, Lib Dems have had a resurgence recently, which is a big fucking surprise. I think they're still recovering from the coalition in 2010. The beautiful blue passport and the vegan sausage rolls. I agree, Laura. I agree. Lol, American here was confused. Hope you have a good day, everybody. If you are leaving, Americans, tune in later. We're going to be streaming some horror games. But yeah, unfortunately not. Tory won. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I voted for 2 Labour and 1 Green because the 3rd Labour guy was a DJ. That's bizarre. Yeah, I mean, Labour losing in Doncaster, which is like They've lost 7%. Wait. They lost 7.6% in Doncaster. That's fucking crazy. I'm going to be playing the new Resident Evil. I think that's what it is, right? I was told to play it yesterday by my chat. So, yeah. I've been sent a message. Wow. Somebody sent me a message. What party do you support? Labour, unfortunately. Just out of necessity, as I don't want to be a Tory. But again, it's depressing, man. It's fucking awful. But yeah, I am a big lefty fucking loony, as you've probably imagined. Hence, I'm having a fucking breakdown on stream again about an election. I streamed the 2017 election on YouTube when I had like 2k subs with the right opinion, and back then we had a lot of hope and a lot of belief because the Conservatives bottled that election, and I don't understand how we've gone from 2017 to now. I do think a lot of it with Corbyn was a misinformation campaign against him. But now, as I said earlier, I can understand why Labour are failing massively on every sort of forte. Just completely fucked. You voted SNP and Green yesterday. That's pretty fucking pog. Well done to you to voting. That's another thing. Please actually just vote. Like, even if you aren't going to vote for my party, just voting and, implementing democracy and taking advantage of your votes is a good thing. And you should do that if you are old enough to vote. Even if it's a protest vote, even if you really are truly fucking tired of every single party. Yeah, I'd advise voting for Labour, but yeah. I went Lib Dem first, Labour second. Yeah, nice. I mean, the Conservative and Lib Dem coalition feels like 20 years ago at this point. But Lib Dem are clearly still recovering from 2010 and the university promises, which were fucking terrible. And you can use your blue passports. I still got a red one. I don't know where my passport is. I was looking for it yesterday and I don't. Are the Monster Raving Loony Party still around? I think they are. Somewhere. I think they are. Everybody seems to like the vegan sausage roll. Would you like a vegan sausage roll? I think I can do a very good posh voice. Would you like a vegan sausage roll? It's weird because I have a very posh accent for somebody that came from a really rough area. I don't have a Guys, do I have a posh accent? Do I just have a southern accent? I think I just have a normal accent, to be honest with you. But yeah. Oh, the bell's just gone. Who the fuck's at the door? Probably a delivery or Harry's ordered food. One of the two. Y'all have multiple coloured passports. Now, we've got blue passports now because of Brexit. It was a big fucking thing back in the day. Well, back in the day, like 4 years ago, having a blue passport. Personally, I think they're ugly as fuck. I prefer the red passports. Yeah, it sounds southern to me. Posh, neutral. Have any of you got your blue passport yet? Because I might... Wait... If I've lost my passport and I reapply for it, will I get a blue one? Will they give me a blue passport? Neutral, but because I'm 7'2". My girlfriend always makes a mockery of my voice because she's northern. Yep, yes. Fuck me. Am I gonna a blue passport? That's my worst nightmare. It's barely even blue. What color is it? I need to figure out a time I'm going to be streaming tonight. I think I might stream at 10 rather than 9. Although I guarantee, because it's a Friday, the fucking Dream guys are going to stream at that point. So everybody will go watch those guys. How many of you watch the Dream SMP? Big up the North. Yes, my girlfriend's from Yorkshire. So a big old... Not big. I don't think my girlfriend would appreciate being called big. Small, old northern girl. But yeah. I don't think I need a new passport for a few... Kenji, shut the fuck up. He wants to see people. I don't know if you can see... He's at the door right now. Ooh, I watched Tommy and it says... Clues. I turn up to Dream SMP streams when something big is happening. Kenji, you're not going to go out there. Not yet. We'll go out there in a bit. I wish watch the Dream SMP, but I mainly... Well, I've lost the message. But I do not have the focus for it. Yeah. Yorkshire lasses, let's go. Yes, I've been plagued with a Yorkshire girlfriend. Hello, buddy. What's up? What you doing? What you doing? Sorry, Kenji came over. He's just stood there right now. Can you see him? Hold on. You see his little ears? His little ears down there? You see those little ears? You sniffing my hand? Go away, you stinky shit. Scottish classes are the best. I have a few friends from Scotland who I don't think I have a bad experience with a Scottish person. I mean, it's probably because I have bias of half my family being Scottish. See, I think my generation are the only fully English generation in my family, because half of them are Scottish and half of them are Spanish. Very weird mix, but yeah, it caused a lot of debacle in the family back like 60 years ago, because my nan's family were Catholic, or one of them. I think because they're Spanish, they would have been Catholic, and I think my Scottish family were Protestant, I believe. So it caused a lot of drama in the family. But yeah, I actually have a really cool family history. You can actually find my family on Wikipedia because it's quite a big family. It's the if you Google the MacDonald clan on Wikipedia, it comes up with so have you guys ever heard the massacre of Glencoe? Because my family were involved in that in the year 1692, where about 90% of my family were slaughtered by the new monarchs of England. It's actually a very historic part of Scottish history, and it actually inspired a scene on Game of Thrones called Red Wedding. Wait, is it on? Yes. George R. R. Martin cites the Glencoe massacre as one of two historical influences on the infamous Red Wedding. This is Fraser law. This is actual law. The Red Wedding was inspired by an event when my family got slaughtered. How mental is that? It wasn't just the McDonald's. It was a bunch of families. So basically, what happened was that obviously the Scottish were constantly revolting against the English, and I believe we actually killed an English king or somebody high up in the royal family in England. So basically Scotland, England, the new monarchs, I believe it was William II. He basically, how do you find out about this? It's all on the internet and Wikipedia and in history books. I've got it up right now. It's on Wikipedia. Just type in the massacre of Glencoe and it comes up. So basically, the English, the king created this. It was a treaty of basically you sign this treaty and you pledge your house or family name to the English king, and my family and a bunch of other families didn't, and we were basically lured into Glencoe, which is a place in Scotland in the mountains in the Highlands, and by other Scottish families and clans, and so we got to Glencoe, and there was like a meeting to discuss this treaty. I believe this may be a bit inaccurate, and then the families that had said this was like a meeting took us all in there, took our weapons, and slaughtered every single last MacDonald there. Interesting part of history, very interesting to read about, but it was a big slaughter. I don't know how many died in it, but it was quite a few. I don't know. But yeah, it was it inspired Red Wedding. I mean, how many people died in Red Wedding? That's how much you need to know. 30 died. Yeah, that's about the amount that died in Red Wedding, pretty much. But I think they mainly killed all the important figures in the clans. The McDonald's got baited. We did. But yeah. That's my family history. And then my Spanish family history is also pretty interesting, but I don't really know how true a lot of it is or how legitimate it is, because I've been told that we have ties to like the predecessing royal family in Spain before General Franco took over, fascist cunt, i.e. Something like that. It's like a far relative or some shit, something like that. But it's a weird family story. But yeah. But who knows? Who knows? All I know is my Scottish family is very fucking cool in terms of history. Sadly, I've barely met any of them though. So yeah, it's something like that. I don't know. But yeah, Franco. Yeah, Franco was a fucking cunt. I had a lot of family leave Spain because of Franco. But yeah, evil man. Evil man. But yeah, what's Trent Alexander-Arnold tweeted? Oh, it's a photo. Your family sounds interesting. Yeah. I like. Oh bloody hell! I've got water on me. Hey Nabs, opinions on animation memes. What, like just animated memes? What do you mean? If so, I mean that's pretty fucking pog, right? Am I right in saying that? My mum's line goes back to Robert the Bruce, LMAO. Jeez, that's pretty fucking cool. Any of you in here have? Did you vote for Nico? I voted for Labour, and then I put Nico as my second. Or did I? Did I? Who knows? Who did you vote for? Hey Nabs, opinions on... Wait, I've already read that. Your family sounds so interesting. Yeah, I've read that as well. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong messages. Based on what? Computexity? Based on what? Search up animation meme. I will after this. I just cannot be bothered to go onto YouTube right now because I don't want to fuck up my layout right now. But yeah, do you guys have any questions? We've been around for a while. I haven't ate in 16 and a half hours, so I should probably eat soon. Yeah, I will probably eat very soon. But yeah, we've got a lot of topics today. We've covered history, we've covered language, we've covered betraying YouTube joke. Probably would have voted for Nico if I was in London. Yeah, I was just kind of skeptical about Sean Bailey winning mayor. I don't think he will. I know he's supposedly taking the lead right now in London, but that is only because he's won Tory strongholds in the outer boroughs of London. Not a fucking shock. What's your favourite non-water drink? I try to only drink water, but if I'm going to drink a fizzy, it's probably going to be Pepsi Max Cherry. Fanta Fruit Twist is probably the GOAT tier, but it's obviously very sugary, so I try not to drink that. In terms of alcohol, I do like Sex on the Beach, stuff like that. I like a rum and coke. I'm not a big beer fan. I like my spirits. I like my cocktails. So, yeah. Toasty is weird, says Dad. Hello. How you doing? Literally not a chance anyone other than Sadiq. Yeah, no chance. No, literally no chance. Sadiq Khan is going to... I'd say Sadiq Khan wins by like 15-10%, right? Or maybe even 20%. Pink Gin as well. Pink Gin is fucking god tier, yes. But yeah, there's not a chance in hell that fucking Sean Bailey's going to win. If he does win, I will leave this country because that's what I'm willing to bet. Beer tastes like ass. I think it kind of depends. Like, if I'm in another country and it's on tap, I'll probably get beer. But if I'm in a bar, I'm not going to get beer. I'm going to get a nice old cocktail because, yeah. First time a big YouTuber actually reads their chat. Yeah, I mean, I don't really advertise my Twitch much. I'll tweet it out, but I've never really promoted it on YouTube or anything. So we have like quite a nice condensed community here. When I stream on YouTube, it's more difficult because there's times where we've had like fucking 30,000 live viewers. So it's so hard to read the chat at that point. But yeah. You can get a Sex on the Beach mocktail mixers from Aldi for 39p. Jesus, I miss Aldi. I haven't been to an Aldi since I was at home. If you didn't live in the UK, where would you live? New York City, probably. That would be probably ideal because it's closest to London and it's pretty cool. But if I had to live in a non-English country, then it would probably be Spain. Or maybe... it'd be Barcelona because that's where family are. Or it would be... trying to think. Not Italy. Norway? Or Switzerland. It would be Switzerland. It would be Switzerland or Barcelona. Or even Netherlands. That would be where I would choose to live if it wasn't a primarily English country. But yeah. Hey, I didn't see what you said about recent message. Could you repeat it again? I don't know what your recent messages was. Who do you have in the UCL and Europa League final? City to win the final, and I'm actually going to go for Villarreal to beat United. I think Villarreal could actually surprise a lot of people. I think there's been a major disrespect against Villarreal because of obviously Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal, in a lot of people's eyes, should have won. But I think we need to give credit to Villarreal for doing a fucking job on Arsenal. And they've also got the master of the Europa League in charge. And that is obviously Unai Emery. So I think I think Villarreal are actually going to do the job on United, and I think City are going to win the Champions League, which would be horrific for Man United fans and a lot of my friends, but I think that actually is going to happen. iNabber, should I buy your U2s? Yeah, but at the same time, maybe not. And I think I've been experiencing a lot of issues with U2s. No shade, no flack or anything. But a lot of people seem to have had issues receiving their U2s because of COVID, because obviously it's been limiting supply. So maybe wait a while. Maybe wait for a few months before you buy it, just so some more supply can come in. I wouldn't want you to spend your money and not receive it for fucking ages. So maybe just halt and wait. Maybe wait for like Christmas or some shit. I don't know. Because Christmas, I imagine they have way more supply because they know there's going to be more demand. But yeah. Oh shit, Bad Batch. I completely forgot that's fucking out. Episode 2's out. Episode 1 was great. Is episode 2 good? Oh fuck, I completely forgot about Bad Batch. I was kind of clouded by politics. iNabber being held at gunpoint by a U2 CEO. Yeah. I want Kenji to get a U2s. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty sick. Are you guys enjoying these Just Chatting streams, by the way? I've been streaming more recently just because it's so easy to do and so much more fun. I really enjoy these streams because I can just come on here and talk about things and I don't have to tweet them. So, no, says Itradi. Well, fuck you, dude. Fuck you, buddy. 12 out of 10. Thank you, McDoodle. I appreciate that. I'm jealous you have a tick. I actually applied for a tick yesterday. I doubt I'll get it, but who knows? Although, I can't wait to stream a video game today. We're actually going to stream... Oh, hello, Harry. Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, of course. I'd say do you want to go into Canary Wharf later, Harry, but I don't know if I've got time. We should do tomorrow, though, because it's a Saturday. But, yeah. Usually turn on your vids to vibe to, so appreciate your longer content like streaming. Yeah, I'll have more content on my channel out very soon. It's just I've been kind of busy and I got ill for a week and a half, which was fucking annoying. Because I wanted to have like a little break to kind of move in and understand what I'm going to be doing and do a little rebrand. But I got fucking ill and it was shit. I don't even know what the illness was. It wasn't COVID. It was like, I had a stomach issue for like a week during it as well. I was like, oh, I was awful. I don't even know what was wrong with me. I think maybe I got like food poisoning, which kind of combined into like a cold and a bad throat. It was fucking bizarre. I don't know. I think it might have been a sinus infection. And I also think I had food poisoning at the same time. Because I had some really dodgy takeaway. And then I got ill the day after. So maybe it was all amplified into one big thing. You love the vegan teacher videos and lives? Yeah, I'm going to be doing another video on the vegan teacher because it's been too long. It's been too long. That'll be next week. I can't wait. I'm buzzing to come back to YouTube. It's been too long. And then, week after that, I actually see my fucking girlfriend for the first time in like months because of this pesky fucking lockdown. So yeah. Who do I think is going to win the London mayoral election? Sadiq Khan, by a pretty overwhelming majority, I'd like to believe. If that isn't the case, then I've lost... I mean, I have no faith in the Labour Party, but if Sadiq Khan actually lost his seat as mayor of London, I'd just give up on politics. I think that would be the turning point if London actually went Tory. But London isn't going to go Tory. I'm willing to look like a fucking clown if Sean Bailey somehow did win by saying Sadiq Khan is going to win it by a majority of at least 10 to 15%. I'd like to think so anyway. Like, I mean, if Labour went blue, oh god, that would just it would make me even more depressed. What are you talking about? We've gone back onto politics. I apologize. I did say we were going to stop talking about politics. We've had a nice little few conversations about a lot of topics today, chat. We've had a nice few. Enjoy seeing your GF. Yes. If Labour went blue, I mean Labour went blue like when Keir Starmer took over. Let's be fucking real. But no. I meant if London went blue. But yeah. It's fun. It's all good fun. It's not. It's fucking terrible. But as I said earlier, if you don't smile and you don't laugh, you're only going to cry. So I'd rather not cry right now. Opinions on America, a wonderful place. Actually, Jeremy Corbyn's tweeted, Tory gains are bad news for jobs, the environment and public services. For many, not the few. With millions not voting, the results show a loss of hope. We must offer a bolder vision to transform people's lives and give them the confidence to strive for. Jeremy Corbyn, I love you, Jezza. God, what a beast. Spoken like a true Labour leader. But yeah, what was he saying? I think America's a great place. It's obviously got its major problems, but I do love America. I've got a lot of great friends from America. I'd love to fucking go to that country. Sadly, I've been restricted by COVID. I was planning to go last year. But America's a great place, full of great people. Obviously, it's got major problems. But I'm tired of people acting like America are any worse than Britain. Really not the case. We are just America's bitch. So, you know, I do very much like America. And I would like to live there one day for a short period of time. Interesting place, nice place. With it's a place you can't really generalize because it's so vast, it's so big, there's so much differing ideologies in all parts of the country. It's too big to generalize as one place, really. So I like America. I do like America. If I make you laugh, you have to donate £5 to me. Sure, go for it. That's nice to hear. Thank you. Yeah, I like my Americans. I do. They're good people. The ones I know anyway. Because, yeah, we can say America's a fucking terrible place with terrible people, but at the end of the day, that's like that in every fucking country. It's just amplified because America are ultimately the biggest and most influential country on the planet. It's like when people said to me, why do you care so much about the US elections? Because America, shock behold, is the most influential country on the fucking planet. What country causes the most wars? America. What country has most influence on world politics? America. What country has just more influence on everything? America. So yes, I have full interest in America, and it's basically a fucking secondary home country to British people, because what those guys do, Britain just follow because we are little bitches. So yeah. Without Britain, America would never be. Not necessarily true. I mean, Native Americans were there before. So not necessarily true. Knock knock. Who's there? Who's there? Is DN there? Do you guys know about DN? Have you guys heard about DN? Joe. Who's Joe? Wait, I'm actually going to laugh at this. Don't make me laugh. I'm not giving you £5. What's going on Twitter? Lancaster has just gone to the Conservatives. My depression continues. Show your Warhammer army. I don't have any Warhammer. I'd love to get into Warhammer. After I watched Cosmonaut's video about Warhammer, I'd love to get into it. That was a laugh. Bomb 10, that was not a laugh. It was not a laugh. He went on Twitter so he wouldn't laugh. Fuck you guys. Fuck you. I didn't laugh. I'm laughing at my own pain. Tell us a funny story. I told you guys a story about how my family got slaughtered in 1692 like 20 minutes ago. Surely that's a funny story. Look at me getting the dates right. Funny. I mean, it's funny to look back on. It just shows how terrible Britain have always been. I thought every British person had a Warhammer. Are you talking about Warhammer, the figures and the game? Or are you talking about an actual, like, Thor Odinson hammer? What are you talking about? Native Americans did not have much power. Yeah, but I do believe over time they would have created power and created more infrastructure. Because I think that really is a thing that happened everywhere. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can't really predict history like that if you're not a historian, and I'm not a historian. Maybe you know more than me. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like eventually they would have created like more further technological based infrastructure. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not that clued up. I did study the American West. Truly a horrific point of history, by the way. When you learn about it, it's very much romanticized until you get into the nitty gritty and learn how fucking terrible the American West part of history really is. So many fucking genocides. Fucking awful part of history. As is Vietnam. Awful. But yeah, I mean, Vietnam is something which isn't taught correctly. You're kind of led to believe that Vietnam began in the 60s, when in reality it began in the 40s with the French, maybe even before then, of people just trying to colonize Vietnam. A lot of fucking crazy shit. iNabber hot tub stream when? If you guys want to buy me a hot tub, you're more than welcome to. All history is terrible. Pretty accurate. I'd say 95% of history is terrible. And it's like not even to the degree it is in history books. Like, as it's said, history, the conquerors write the history books, you know? And that is very much the case. I think there are many atrocities in our country's histories that we don't particularly know about. And maybe one day we will. All history is also boring. History is fucking great. Don't disrespect. History is great. I do love history. Used to be one of my favorite topics until you realize that most of history you're taught in school is bullshit, bar a few bits and pieces. Pardon me. That was gross. By the way, I'm going to end the stream soon because I need to eat. I've not eaten in almost 17 hours now. So, yeah. History is written by the victors. It is, Teagues. It is. The British monarchy just colonized every single country. True. But then again, what empire didn't colonize every single country? The British monarchy were just like the best at doing it in an awful way. But yeah, I mean, history is just so taught so wrong in schools. I mean, even with Churchill, for example, you're taught so many wonderful things about that man. And yes, he was a good war general, terrible leader, as in like a terrible politician, for example. I mean, look at the India famine during World War II. That's not taught in schools, as far as I know. How is intermittent fasting going? It's going good. I need to break my fast soon. I should have broke it an hour ago, but I haven't because I was streaming. Do you like the current state of the British monarchy, and do you believe it should be abolished? I don't really have the facts on it, but I do think that royal families shouldn't exist. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily... I know there's this war of information of like whether the British monarchy actually brings in more money than more money given to it, but I'm not really sure on the facts of that. But I am under the belief that there shouldn't be a royal family in terms of politics. I think... and if there is a royal family, I don't think they should have any power other than being like a fashion statement, tourism statement, for example. I think that the fact the royals do actually still have power is bizarre, and it is also the last cling this country has onto fascism. So I think that it should be removed. But then again, I don't know how much money it brings in. If it does bring in more money than it's what's put into it, then okay. But I do think they should have all power taken away from them. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Just based on, I don't know how much it actually benefits the economy, because it just seems to be a complete war of misinformation in that topic. So I'd have to research it more to give a conclusive opinion. But I do believe they shouldn't have any form of power whatsoever. The only people that should have power are democratically elected politicians. You think of Liz? No, they're not going to abolish the monarchy. It's too historic for this country. That will not happen for at least another 50 years. Maybe after the next monarch dies after Liz, maybe. But it's just too historic for this country to abolish, I believe. And we're still in that old phase of politics anyway. I mean, if you look, you just need to look at the fucking Houses of Parliament to understand what this country's like when it comes to the monarchy. Like, we still hold them to so much power, and it's not even realized. So yeah, strip them of their power. If they do bring in more money than is given to them, then great. But yeah, but I think eventually over time, more and more people are going to become sick of the royal family. Because you can still have Buckingham Palace, and you can still have it as a tourism destination, you know? But I don't know. Royals are weirdly loved throughout the world by people that aren't English. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, Americans seem to love the royal family. Not sure why. I guess it's because it's like very traditional Britain. Yeah. So I can't really give you a conclusive opinion. Do you believe in socialism? Yes, I do. I think that in an ideal world, it would be socialist. sadly, I can't ever see that ideal world being, because humans are naturally selfish. And I think if so much power was given to the state, it could. I don't really trust that. But I think in an ideal world, if wealth could be redistributed to everybody and everybody have a house and everybody have free internet, for example, I am very much for that. I just don't trust any politician with that level of power. But yeah, I very much am at heart a socialist. But yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one, because the argument is always, obviously, giving so much power to a head of state is a very risky move. And I think in Britain and America, I just cannot imagine giving all that power to fucking Boris Johnson per se, you know? So yeah, I mean, we currently live in a country which they're deciding whether we can protest or not. They say to us, you can protest then, but not protest now, which kind of goes against all fucking understanding of what a protest is. A protest isn't at the convenience of a government. A protest is to inconvene a government. So right now, I don't think it could work based on the politicians that are around, but maybe in 50 years, I do think inevitably the world will drift towards communism and socialism because of overpopulation, for example. And I think that eventually it will get to a point where there are so many homeless people. There is so much austerity that the only option is redistribution of wealth, especially with more and more billionaires. So I think these things are inevitable. And as I said earlier, there is always a sway in politics like every 40 years. So I think eventually it will happen. And if it happens in a way of there is a trusted government who won't abuse their power, then I am for that. I just don't believe there is right now. So yeah. Remember when Trump was president? Longest goddamn 4 years of my life. Yes. I remember in 2015 and seeing Trump start to run his campaign and everybody looked at him as a joke. I remember saying Trump will win the election. And I am sad that I didn't put a bet on that, because at least I could fucking wipe my tears with some betting winnings. But yeah, I remember in 2015 just believing for some reason that cunt would win, and he did. I think it was because that's when this sort of counterculture in politics was starting to come along. People were tired of the regular Democrat-Republican system and the regular politicians of the Bushes, the Obamas, the Bidens, and the Clintons. I think people were very tired of that at that point. But yeah. Thank fuck it's over though. I mean, Biden's not much better, but anything but that fucking weasel, you know. I mean, that's the one problem with America is the politics, obviously. But yeah, iNabber 2025. I would rather die than run for any form of political thing. I'd rather be an influencer, which is equally as taxing. I probably have to pay more tax than politicians, ironically enough, actually. But yeah, it's all tiring. I do think eventually we will, given that this is a very progressive generation, come to more of a left-leaning progressive society in the West. But who knows? It's all. I mean, there are always progressive movements, but I think right now we live in at least the most vocal. But yeah, I think that right now in Britain, the government have way too much power. I think that whilst lockdowns were necessary, I think that it's given them this weird power boner of where they're now telling people, obviously, where they can't protest and stuff. And that is very worrying. And I think people do need to ask questions of when did the government lose these access to these powers, and will they ever actually lose them? Because it is kind of worrying. I remember there was a government last year in some form of Europe. I think Eastern Europe. Some government took all power basically in the name of COVID, which is very disturbing. I think they reversed that, but yeah, I definitely think that there is this issue of the Conservatives having way too much power right now, almost to a level of fascism, of telling people when to protest and not protest. Very, very disturbing. Even even with like people getting mad at like might have been Hungary. Yeah, I think it was Hungary. Even that people getting mad at like non-peaceful protests. I mean, when has a peaceful protest actually done anything? You know, like, I mean, even look at the football, for example. Like, when is a peaceful protest against football club owners actually done fucking anything? I don't think ever. People died to win the right to vote for women, for example, you know. And I'm not saying people should die now for that, because we're past that. But I'm saying that in the past, radicals are the ones that cause change, you know. And I'm not Twitch. I'm not advocating for anything here. I'm just saying that I just think that there is this issue in this country right now of allowing this government to tell us what and when is right to protest, you know? Priti Patel is literally a fascist. See, I don't actually know much about her. Like, as much as I can come on there and speak about politics, I actually don't know much about her. I do know that she's a cunt, though. So, we'll leave it at that. Do you have a Discord? I don't. I find Discord to be way too problematic and stressful. And I also feel bad because I have a Discord. When I have a Discord server, I don't use it enough. And I think people really expect me to be in there quite a lot to speak to them. And I can't offer that amount of care and time into it. So I'd rather have this Twitch as like an alternative. Got it out there eventually. An alternative to Discord. Imagine if Kanye won. Yeah, I don't think that was ever happening, to be fair, but that would have been a bit of a crazy timeline. But after Trump, you know, what I don't think anything is impossible, but yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna end this stream now because I've got to go to the gym and I have to record a video of Lewis Buchan later. I say have to, like that's a bad thing. I'm looking forward to it. But imagine if Bernie won. Yeah, my belief in politics died when the Democrats nominated Biden over Bernie. But yeah, you give me radio speaker vibes. I would love to have a radio show. Although one of the show, I said one of the show I'm working on right now, which begins later this month with Alexander, that will be kind of like a radio show. And the first episode is going to be for charity, and I'm aiming to earn like $30,000 for multiple charities, free, I believe. My charity being the Trevor Project, I think. I think that's definitely going to be the one I'm going to go for because I like the Trevor Project. I don't think there's anything problematic about them, and they seem to do a lot of good for the community and good for the world. So, yeah, I probably need to get in contact with them. They follow me on Twitter now, which is really cool. Big up the Trevor Project. If you're ever thinking of a charity to donate to, go for them. They're good. But yeah. Have a good day. Thank you. There's also, I think, another charity we're going to go for is homelessness in the UK, and then maybe an animal shelter charity. I'm not too sure. Me and Alex kind of need to discuss it, but we'll give you more info on that as the time comes. All of the equipment has arrived. I think we're just waiting on one desk, but yeah. I'm going to be streaming. Should we do a raid, by the way? I don't know who to raid. Is anybody live right now that you guys want me to raid? I can't see anybody actually live right now. Have a nice day, Fraser iNabber. Thank you, Leftist JK. You're a regular here, and I hope you have a wonderful day. But yeah, is there anybody we can raid right now? I don't think there is actually anybody I know live right now. You people must want a communist nation. Idiots. What? I literally just said that I want people to have the beliefs to protest and do what they want and have freedom. I feel like that's like, what are you talking about? I feel like I've been speaking in just like what society has been for a while. Alex's brother is live. Wait, really? What's his at again? Will Elmsley. What is your at? Anyway, communism's low-key based anyway. So yeah, maybe I do. Right, let's raid Mr. Elmsley's brother. All right, ready for this, guys? I think this is Will. Will Elm. Okay, here we go. We're raiding. I want everybody to spam the fuck out of his chat. Spam the absolute fuckity fuck. I've got a big ad on this, but yeah. Are we gonna raid, people? Are we looking forward to this raid? Okay. We'll raid in 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, raid.